I'd like to welcome everybody for the Kościuszko Foundation and Polish Theatre Institute to this staged reading of a play about Janusz Korczak. The play was written by Tamara Karen and is based on Korczak's diary from the ghetto. It is Who Was That Man?
It's a hot August night. Children are sleeping, 200 of them. I spent at least 10 minutes listening to the children breathing and coughing and their sighs. There is much to learn from the cough of a sleeping child, from the constant struggle against infection, fever, irritation, and of course flies. Have a look at these little fingers. Oh. Hey, see the little finger, he's going to sleep. And now the next finger, he's going to sleep too. And the middle finger, and this is the forefinger, this is going to sleep too. And you too, you fat thumb, you go to sleep too. All right? Yeah, go to sleep. Kotkidra, szare w górę obydwa, nic nie będą robiły, tylko rybkę bawiły. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm telling you. I must have 3 sacks of flour, 1 sack of cereal, and yeast. That's what I said, yeast. For the children. That's for whom? What? Did you mention Gestapo? Well, by all means, go ahead, denounce me. The allocation is to be delivered within 2 days. And I slammed the door on them. The clock is going faster and faster, and I've so much to do to put everything in order. Will I have enough time? I wanted to be a doctor early in my life. At the same time, I wanted to be a writer. Both my ambitions were fulfilled, though not perhaps as I expected them to be. I was still at school when I began writing a very somber poem called The Suicide. The teacher caught me at it. I still recall the sarcastic comment he made in front of the whole class. Goldschmidt has no time to study because Goldschmidt is going to write in the magazines for 2 kopecks a line. That's better. A sense of weariness without pain. Exquisite. Scars don't really matter, nor the ache in my eyes, nor the burning in my bladder. There's a sour taste in my mouth. I think it's the taste of the caramel gives it a little more flavor. Quite an Epicurean, aren't I? I was born into a well-off bourgeois family. In his absent-mindedness, my father forgot to make out my birth certificate, so I don't know if I was born in 1878 or 1879. I was named Henrik after my grandfather. Also, his name was really Hersch. I always gave my nationality as Polish and my religion as Jewish, with a question mark, because I don't know what faith I really am, even though my faith was held against me. My grandfather was a doctor. My father, Joseph Goldschmidt, a very successful lawyer. And my mother, Cecilia, was intelligent, kind, excessively solicitous. She was a saint. My heart may not be able to take the strain. Even though it is capable of taking the strain of the care and suffering of 200 children. Got a sharp tooth. It's cutting into my tongue. Does it really matter that my tongue hurts? Does it really matter that they're going to shoot me? After all, one only dies once, doesn't one? Just a minute, Mr. MD. What's wrong with him is vitium cordis, insufficientia mitralis, and rheumatism. That's what's wrong with him. Am I right, Mr. MD? What are you trying to say? I'm demanding that a doctor be very humble when he sees a non-paying patient, that he should explain the relationship between a damp room and his cardiac conditions, his rheumatic heart, his cough, and that the doctor make sure that he is listened to so that the boy's parents stop feeding him with beer and schmaltz. That's what I'm trying to say, Mr. MD. The doctor looked at me and he said, "What do you do for a living, young man?" "Oh, I shovel shit." Once I was called to Poznański Palace. I was to come immediately. The patient couldn't wait. Dr. Julian, who knew everyone in Warsaw, told me I could charge 3 rubles. I went. "Oh, do sit down, doctor. I'll send for the boys. They're playing on the ground somewhere." Doctor, shall we have some tea? Wait, no, I don't have time for tea. But Dr. Julian always, I'm not Dr. Julian. Oh, and what are you writing now, doctor? Only prescriptions, unfortunately. I was part of a consulting team of doctors at a rich Jewish man's house once. The foremost specialists of the day huddled around this child who had a slight sniffle. Shaking heads, sagely, they were debating, and what, my dear esteemed colleague, is your diagnosis, they asked me. "A rich little Jewish kid's cold," I said. I treated the Polish poor for nothing, but I charged the Jewish poor 20 kopecks. Because it says in the Talmud that a doctor who doesn't get paid doesn't do any good. I made up for it by charging the rich double. My eyes hurt. They tear up easily. Stefania was, of course, right about that handkerchief. And I shouted at her, "My dear Stefania, forgive me, but you know how unbearable I get when someone tears me away from my thoughts." I came back from the hospital with typhus. And my mother became infected while she was looking after me. It was my fault that my mother died. My mother, whom I worshipped more than anyone else in the world. Even the performers felt it. Doctor, they told me afterwards, for the first time in months, we were able to forget the reality that surrounds us. Even here, good things can happen. Beautiful things. Last Christmas, a few generous Poles, I only know their underground names, organized a Christmas party for us. Disguised as garbage men, they They smuggled in a whole cartload of presents under a pile of rubbish. The Count, that was his underground name, he entered last carrying a Christmas tree. Oh, the scent of the forest was everywhere. And then they sang a Christmas carol. Peace to men of goodwill. Pokój ludziom dobrej woli. Prayer. Throughout my life, I've been searching for a God who is independent of religions. My God was born in loneliness, sorrow, and goodness. I studied the Talmud and the New Testament. I sought help not only from Adonai, but Christ, the God tormented, and the God of Golgotha is walking in this ghetto as well. If someone were to give me a missile, I think I'd manage to say Mass. But I could never manage to preach a sermon to those innocent lambs with yellow stars of David. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anti-Semitism was coming over from Germany and found very fertile soil here. I became increasingly depressed. If I had unlimited means, I'd announce a contest for the construction of a new orphanage in the Lebanon hills. There'd be huge dormitories and small houses for the hermits who like to be on their own. Myself, I would have one small room on the terrace of a flat roof. Walls would be transparent so that I could not miss sunrises and sunsets, so that when I'm writing at night, I could look up at the stars. There will come a time for heaven. Did you have a bad dream? Lie down. Lie down here on this side. You comfortable? That's good. The last summer before the war, I went to a summer camp with the children again. And again, I had that joyful experience of discovering and learning about 20 new children, 20 new books written in 20 scarcely known languages, slightly damaged books with a few torn pages. And yet, the most important matters were the same problems as in the old days: a thorn in somebody's foot, arguments by the swings, a broken branch somewhere. I came back from the summer camp tired, but elated. An elated 60-year-old man.
Dzieci, wstawać! Oszczędźcie łóżka i na śniadanie.
Breakfast. Shall I get up or shall I not get up? I haven't had a bath for quite some time. Yesterday I caught a louse, I murdered it. A Russian peasant once said, "A louse is not as bad as a human being. A louse won't take all your blood." Poor little louse. Stefania, don't forget, the children have to be weighed today. No one can force me to abandon the children. They believe that nothing can happen to them while I am with them. Stefania, get the children dressed in their best clothes. Tell them to line up in the hall in fours. And be sure you bring the orphanage green banner. We are going for a trip.
Those who witnessed the march saw Korchak at the head of an orderly procession holding two children by the hand, followed by 192 children of the orphanage and 10 staff members, including the loyal Stefan. They marched four abreast in the broiling heat, holding the flag of King Matt, green on one side with the blue Star of David on the other, escorted by soldiers, whips, and dogs. When the Jewish police saw Korchak and his children arrive at the Umschlagplatz, 2 kilometers away, and saw Korchak helping the children into the chlorinated freight cars, they jumped to attention. As a witness remembered, this was no march, but a mute protest full of contempt for the murderers. The train doors closed. There were 4,000 other children and their escorts deported that day. No one survived the story to tell the story of Korchak, Stefan, and the children's last hours. There was no overnight stay at Treblinka. All were taken to immediate extermination in gas chambers. The mountains of putrefying corpses at Treblinka were eventually cremated, the ashes scattered in long trenches and covered with earth over which evergreen trees were planted. A year before the end of the war, captive Jewish workers at the camp burned most of it down. The Germans completed the destruction to hide their traces. Sometimes, after the war, the violated space that had been Treblinka was transformed into a vast stone garden. Beautiful, dense birch and pine trees lined the path to the fake railroad station with the fake clock whose hands never moved. A stone railroad track symbolizes the real tracks that led to the death camp. 17,000 stones brought in from the Polish quarries represent villages, towns, and countries of 1 million men, women, and children who died there. Only one rock is engraved: Janusz Korczak, Henryk Goldschmidt i dzieci.